As of recording, the PlayStation State of Play happened yesterday, and they revealed a trailer for a brand new Sonic game. Well, not really. Sonic X Shadow Generations will be coming out later this year, and I'm not really quite sure how I feel about it. When it first was revealed, I was very excited, but now that I've had some time to stew over it, I'm kind of thinking through things a little bit more. Sonic Generations is one of my favorite Sonic games of the past decade, if not the favorite game of the past decade, because there's not many Sonic games after Sonic Generations that I enjoyed quite as much. But there is a caveat to that. I don't think it's a perfect game by any stretch of the imagination. It's crazy to think that there are young kid Sonic fans that grew up after Sonic Generations came out, and that kind of hurts my brain a little bit. But I'm going to try not to think about it too much because, man, I am getting old. For those of you that are unaware of what Sonic Generations is, Sonic Generation was a game that came out back in, I believe, 2011, and it featured both modern Sonic and classic Sonic in the same game, celebrating Sonic's anniversary, going through levels from Sonic 1 all the way through to the current Sonic game that came out, which I believe was Sonic Colors. I could be wrong though, but I'm pretty sure Sonic Colors was the cutoff for that. Not only were you playing more modern versions of these classic games from like Sonic 1, Sonic Adventure, Sonic Heroes, but you also could play from two different versions. Act 1 was the classic version where you would do a side-scrolling version of that level, and then Act 2 was the modern version where you would be, running on a 3D section, even though a lot of those 3D sections still had 2D sections, but I'll rant about that in a few minutes. Basically, Sonic Unleashed, the day levels, kind of started this boost formula, this boost mechanism for Sonic games, and I think Sonic Generations perfected it and was the peak of the boost formula for the franchise. Like many Sonic games, the story for Sonic Generations was quite simple. You had a past Sonic teaming up with modern Sonic to take down two Eggmans of the past and of the present. And you just, like I said earlier, you go through a collection, a celebration of different eras of Sonic the Hedgehog and the main Sonic titles. And it was just so fun to be able to play some of these levels again with new polish and a great new atmosphere, right? And on top of that, you also got to fight iconic boss battles. Perfect Chaos, Shadow, Silver even from 06. No game got skipped from the main titles, and it was just really fun to experience for the first time. Well, not really the first time, because they're recreations, they're almost like adaptations, right? They added more to the levels and obviously made them look better, so you're playing new levels, but they're very much close to the ones that you had before, so that thing in your brain is like, ooh, I remember this when I was a kid playing on the GameCube, right? It's kind of like Sonic Frontiers when you do the cyber levels. Some of those older levels, if you played the older games, you're like, this level design, although it doesn't necessarily look like the level, it feels like the level. So stuff like that just really, really gets me excited. And I had a lot of fun playing this game. I played the absolute crap out of it. I didn't necessarily love it. Once again, the side scroll, I was never much of a huge side-scrolling Sonic fan. I don't really like that type of gameplay. I don't think it's a fun system to hold over to the right, go as fast as you can, but oh wait, now you have to stop and platform, or oh wait, there's an enemy there that you didn't know was there because you were going too fast, so now you have to get hit and learn to redo the level. I personally don't like that. I know there are a lot of people out there that love that mechanic and love that style of games, and it's what started Sonic. I personally like the more Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure 2. I know I'm in the minority in this. It doesn't matter. It's my opinion. I just don't like that as much. So obviously, there's like 50% of the game that I didn't really like playing because you, like I said, the first act of each level is classic version where it's all side-scrolling, and the second half is the modern version. But the problem is a lot of those modern version levels still have a lot of 2D sections, and it bugged me a little bit, but it was enough to keep me going with the nostalgia and how Sonic controlled. Sonic controls really well in this game, and I don't think they were able to replicate that ever again after. Sonic Frontiers, he doesn't feel right, and when you're doing classic Sonic in future games like Sonic Forces, it doesn't feel right. The weight isn't right, the speed isn't right, so they did a lot of good things here, and it really started a structure and a foundation for what future Sonic gameplay should be. They didn't really act on it, but I had to give its praises where it's due. Just because I personally don't like side-scrolling doesn't mean that it was bad by any stretch of the imagination. So yeah, it's weird because it's one of my more favorite Sonic games of the past decade, but at the same time, I really didn't like half of it. But then again, like that nostalgia bait, and then the boss levels, like being able to fight Silver and Shadow and Chaos, it was a lot, right? And then they also had missions that weren't all easy. Some of them were really easy, some of them were actually really challenging. So there was a lot of diversity there content-wise as well. It's not a long game. I think a regular playthrough would probably take me like maybe 20 hours tops if I'm listening to the story as well. But I really did enjoy this game all in all. And what do I think about this new game that they've just announced? Well, it's not really a new game. Sonic X Shadow Generations is basically an updated version of Sonic Generations with an added story for Shadow the Hedgehog. And I want to quickly go over why I'm both excited and kind of nervous for this. So, the first thing that I'm nervous about is the price, because it seems like from what I've read from the PlayStation Store description of this game, it seems like it's mostly going to be a Shadow game, where Shadow's reliving his past, meaning you go to his past levels and stuff like that, similar to Generations, only this time as Shadow, and going into levels from, hopefully, Shadow the Hedgehog. I don't know if we're going to get guns and stuff like that, because then that's just going to be edgy and everyone's going to be memeing on it like the last game. I really like Shadow the Hedgehog. I'm going to go on the side right here. I don't care. I know it wasn't a perfect game. As a kid, it was awesome. It was fire. I enjoyed it. The being able to do your own path and have your own multiple stories, I thought was a cool concept. I think that game gets a lot of crap for no reason. But that's just my opinion. I really like Shadow the Hedgehog. Anyway, so it seems like you're doing a story as Shadow, and then once that story wraps up, or in the same time as you're doing that story, you get an upgraded version of Sonic Generations. But that's the thing, is it's not a new experience besides the Shadow part. So this game, I'm worried, is going to be a full price game. Now, I have to give Sega credit, even though I really don't want to, due to the latest controversy. Sonic Frontiers was only $40, and I think that's worth the price of the game. This game, however, I don't think is worth $40 unless they really give us a full-fledged Shadow story. I don't want it to be Sonic Generations updated and then the Shadow DLC, because the Shadow DLC from Sonic Forces put a really bad taste in my mouth. That thing was short and lackluster. Shadow did not feel different from Sonic whatsoever. Anyway, moving back to it, they got to be careful because they're starting to tread a very thin line. Sega's been under some controversy lately because they're going to be releasing Yakuza Infinite Wealth. And that game is not being sold at a full product. What I mean by that is the game is being sold as like an $80 game or whatever it may be, or maybe $60, and then for an additional $15 you get New Game Plus and the extra parts of the game. And I think that's not okay. I don't think that's consumer friendly. I think that's very predatory of Sega to do something like this, because you're only selling 90% of the game in order to get access to usually features that most games just come with as a standard. You're putting it behind a paywall. I don't think this is going to happen with the Sonic series. I hope not. I think I would quit gaming in total if I start seeing microtransactions and giant paywalls in a Sonic franchise. I don't even know the ramifications of that for Sega, because the franchise is mostly for kids now. Like, I know there's hardcore Sonic fans like me that are older, but for the most part it's for kids. And if you're going to be doing this paywall microtransaction stuff that you've been doing, that's going to look really bad. So if we ever see, you can get this down right now. If there is ever a Sonic game, a main title Sonic game for a console or PC that is riddled with microtransactions or in-store items that need real-life currency to pay for, then yeah, OCDsaster is going to quit gaming altogether, because I will have completely lost faith in the gaming industry. I don't have much of it left, but I would completely lose faith. I know I'm going on a side tangent, I do apologize, but depending on how robust the Shadow story is and how different Shadow plays compared to Sonic will really determine how much I think this game should be worth. If it's a good 5, 6, 7 hour storyline as Shadow, where you're going through all his stages and you're doing a lot of different combat things that Sonic can't do, then yeah, a $40 price tag would not be bad. However, if it's $40 and it's only a 2-hour long story with Shadow, and then the rest is just Sonic Generations ported over to next-gen hardware, that's when I get a little bit concerned and I'm a little bit worried about happening, because the history of the Sonic team porting, or not even Sonic team, but just Sonic games being ported over, hasn't been good. People were really excited when Sonic Colors was getting that Switch port. And although it's the Switch and there's already limitations there, it is more powerful than the original game, but it was ported so badly. And I was really excited to play Sonic Colors because I never played Sonic Colors before, but then the port came out and I was like, no, like, I'm not doing that. I'm not putting money down for something that's inferior to the original product. And I'm just worried that that might happen with this game. I hope not. I hope I will eat my words in a couple of months and really be able to enjoy this experience, because it does seem interesting. Being able to play as Shadow. Doom is in it. You saw Doom's eye in the trailer. It looks really trippy. There are definitely, looks like they're going for that more edgier look for Shadow's playstyle. I just hope that they really take time and put some love into this like they did the original Sonic Generations. Because you could tell, in the original Sonic Generations game, they put a lot of love into that. And if this is just going to be a copy-paste situation, people are going to feel like the love isn't there, and it's not going to go well. Yes, it's going to be that same Sonic fandom where you have the diehards worshipping it, and the other people that are just like crapping on it for no reason. But that's going to happen no matter what Sonic game comes out. But I definitely will be disappointed if that's the case. My one friend pointed out that Sonic Generations has so many mods that this isn't really anything special, this new Sonic Generations game, because modders have done so many crazy and inventive fun things with that old game based on the engine. And Sega, honestly, another point in Sega's, whatever, is that you're allowed to mod their games. As long as you don't sell them, they let you mod games and really enhance that experience. And people have done so many things with Sonic Generations. They made so many iconic one-to-one levels. They made it so you could play as Silver and all this other stuff. So my friend does have a very good point. Like, you could just play a really well-modded version of Sonic Generations. My counter to that is the accessibility of downloading all the mods, is the limitations that some people may have. I personally don't have a PC. I have a laptop, and I don't think it would run Sonic Generations, let alone mods, that well. So people like us, like me, people who don't have a powerful PC or laptop to run mods and stuff, this is our way of kind of almost getting that feel. I know it's a little bit of copium, I know that's a little bit of an excuse, but I am really trying to see the positive side of this. I still want to see a main title, mainline Sonic game come out in the next few years. I know we just finished up Frontiers, but we need to still get more of those and not just copy-paste stuff over. I hope they really polish up the original Sonic Generations, maybe even change the level design a little bit. I know that's really hopeful thinking, but maybe get rid of some of that 2D and the modern section stuff, since we already have so much of it in the classic. And then, of course, that Shadow story. I'm not asking for a masterpiece. It doesn't even need to be as good as Shadow the Hedgehog's story. Debatably, some people might not think that was a good story altogether, but you know what I mean. It just needs to be something that is worth sinking your teeth into and worth a price tag of $40 or less. Now, if they do more than $40 and it's really robust, then I'm fine with that. But we'll just have to see. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. Be sure to like the video if you made it to the end, and subscribe if you haven't already. I do only Sonic content on this channel. If you want to check out some more videos, go ahead and look at the recommended on the side, or check out the videos that are going to be popping up at the end. Also, I do have a main channel, OCDsaster, and in a few days, hopefully, I will be releasing my race against a friend in Sonic Frontiers. So if you're interested in that, you can check over there. Just a disclaimer on that, though, that is a more adult-friendly channel. This is very family-friendly. I don't curse or anything like that, or at least I try not to. Over on OCDsaster, it's a little bit more edgier. So just keep that in mind. I'm OCDsaster, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. See ya.